Hi everybody, it's Stewart A. Swerdlow.
And Janet Diane Moria Swerdlow.
And this is the Expansions News Podcast for Christmas week of 2015. Unbelievable, it's Christmas week already. And you know, this morning I had to shovel all that snow and I hurt my arm again. Like Armageddon.
That's what I was
going to
say.
Yeah. So, yeah, the snow was like mashed potatoes. And it was I was not happy. I wanted to stop, but I just kept going.
Mm-hmm. That's unusual. You should have stopped because tomorrow we're not supposed to have snow. It's supposed to be like 50 tomorrow.
No, it's not going to be that warm tomorrow. I don't know what station you listen to, but it isn't from here.
I don't listen to any station. I look at the Weather Channel.
Which is completely wrong all the time.
And it says no snow tomorrow.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get right to the news because, you know, we're getting ready for appreciation. We don't call it Christmas. We call it Appreciation Week.
We do.
And we are preparing for that, and we will appreciate everybody, and we do. Anyway, speaking of not appreciative, let's talk about Trump. Because as you know, he's been out of control. He's been saying a lot of things about a lot of people, and especially about Jeb Bush, which actually I agree with him. What he said was, and I quote from Mr. Trump, Jeb Bush has embarrassed himself and his family with his incompetent campaign for president. He should remain true to himself. The last thing our country needs is another Bush. He's dumb as a rock. Well, it sounds like something I wrote for him. Well, I do agree with you, Donald. They are dumb as a rock. We don't need another Bush. We have plenty of Bushes outside, don't we?
We do.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they can embarrass each other because they're all not too brilliant. But we have to remember it's only stuff he's talking and saying that his writers have written for him.
It's hilarious. I don't think they write for him. I think he just comes out of his mouth.
No, they write.
And anyway, Bush then called Trump a jerk, and also said that that he's a bully, a real estate mogul bully, who needs to be confronted. Anyway, also Trump received kudos from Vladimir Putin, which Bush says that he would not want to receive, because of course they don't like them. And of course, then the question we had, Bush Communications Director Tim Miller said, Donald is upset that Jeb got the best of him on Tuesday night at the debate and has been the one person to stand up to his un-American praise of Vladimir Putin. Do you think it was un-American?
Of who?
Putin.
Two.
I think that Trump is telling the truth about Putin, because I do like Putin.
Of course you do. He's your people.
Now, here's what Jeb Bush said about Putin. Jeb said, by the way, what does Jeb mean? What kind of a name is Jeb? How do you give birth to a baby? I think I will call him Jeb.
Isn't that a biblical name, Jebediah?
Yeah, his name is Jeb. Anyway, Jeb Bush said about Putin, he's a bully, gangster, and thug. Have you realized what the Bush family has done over the years? Talk about gangsters and thugs. Anyway, and John McCain, now he's real pristine. John McCain said that he looked into Putin's eyes and saw three letters, a K, a G, and a B. Well, I looked in McCain's eyes and I saw three letters too. N-S-A, and then I saw three more letters, R-E-P, reptilian. Now, Trump has embraced Putin as a world leader, and he said, and I quote, we will get along very well, and I think they would. And Putin praised Trump and said he was bright and talented and the absolute leader of the presidential race.
So maybe they're preparing for this one world government.
Well, I'll get to that. But Trump said that Putin's praise was a great honor and shrugged off allegations that the Russian president has ordered the killing of journalists and political dissidents. Because this is what Trump said. He's running his country, and at least he's a leader, unlike what we have in this country, which is true. And he says, I think our country does plenty of killing also. Yeah, that's true. Don't tell us about Putin killing journalists. America kills everybody. Anyway, Mitt Romney, another brilliant one, said on his Twitter...
Maybe Mitt and Jeb.
Yeah,
maybe Mitt. Their mothers know
Mitt,
each other.
who put the dog on the roof and drove around with him. That Mitt. Mm-hmm. Let's remember what he did. He said that thug Putin kills journalists and opponents. Our presidents kill terrorists and enemy combatants.
And innocent women and children and old people.
Right, and everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, including Gaddafi, Hussein, and everybody else. Yeah, let's remember that Mitt. What kind of name is Mitt? Who looks at a kid and says, I think I'll call him Mitt?
I don't think that's his real name.
I think I'll call his friend Jeb. Yeah. Mitt and Jeb.
I think Mitt is a nickname, but I can't remember the story behind that this time.
Their names alone should tell you what they're like.
That's right. The programming...
Now, Trump said if he were president, I would be so tough you wouldn't believe it. Yeah, I believe it. And he said, China is killing us, Mexico is killing us, Japan is killing us, they're eating our lunch. Well, he's right.
How can they be eating our lunch?
It's because they're taking things that should belong to the United States. Anyway, let's go to our fearless leader.
Where?
Obama. Hussein Obama, yeah. Mm-hmm. President Obama and his family arrived in Hawaii. I'm sure you're happy with them. They go every holiday, I think. Yes, they arrived on Air Force One carrying their family and landed at the Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam. I know they renamed it. On his first day of an annual 2-week holiday. I don't get a frickin' 2-week holiday. Why does he? Anyway, on his way to Hawaii, Obama stopped in Southern California to visit the loved ones of the victims killed in the San Bernardino massacre, which he probably arranged. But he is in big trouble because he avoided the survivors. He only went to the families of the ones who died. Why? Because the ones who died can't tell what happened. The survivors can, so he's not going to visit them, right? Makes sense. Mm-hmm. Now, Obama usually spends his vacation time in Hawaii frequenting the island's golf courses, dining out, and hiking. And listen to this one. The total cost of Obama's vacations since taking office in 2009 is $70.5 million. Have we ever spent that much on a vacation? I would like just that we could live on that. I would like 1% of that. We could live on that for the next that's just his vacations. 10 or 20 years. Right. Wow. But listen. He frequents the island's golf courses, dining and hiking, going to the beach, and treating himself and his kids to shaved ice, frozen dessert that looks like a snow. Isn't that cute? All his little adopted children with Michael. Then, Obama is treating Air Force One, which cost $206,000 per hour. Why does that cost $206,000 per hour? Why? Because he probably has a staff of 1 billion people on there. And they called it it's like an Uber ride for him. It's like, get Air Force One here now. Yeah, because Uber is, again, another programming term that's going out all over the internet. But you know who was worse? It said it's still not anywhere near the number of vacations taken by George W. Bush. Well, because he was always vacationing in his mind. He was always on vacation. He wasn't there. Yeah. Anyway, let's go to the Middle East. It's one of my favorite places because I keep freaking going back there. Anyway, you know what's going on with Israel and Turkey and all that. Well, they've reached a preliminary agreement to begin restoring full diplomatic relations after years of a deep freeze. The two countries, once close regional allies, fell out over the confrontation in 2010 when the Israeli commandos attacked the Turkish ship and actually killed 9 activists on that ship, and a 10th died later on. But a senior Israeli official speaking on conditions of anonymity. Okay, let me translate. They want people to know unofficially, so they told someone to give, to leak out this on purpose. That Israel would create compensation fund for the families of those killed on that ship, which was called the Mavi Marmara, which would be $20 million for 10 people. So that means their families get $2 million each. Which
is probably, for Obama, that's probably like
that's not even a tenth of what he spent on his vacations.
Probably a meal.
Seriously. Turkey, in turn, would drop the criminal charges filed against Israeli officers and agree to prevent the leader of Hamas, an Islamic group that controls Palestinian territory of Gaza, from entering Turkey. That's actually a big deal. Israel has accused the Hamas leader, Salah al-Aruri, of orchestrating attacks against Israel in the West Bank, based in Turkey. Now, here's the real reason. The two countries would also return ambassadors to each other's capitals, and here it is, discuss building a pipeline to bring natural gas from Israel to Turkey. That's the reason. Yeah. They don't give a damn about all this other crap. Turkey wants the gas. Okay? Now, and here's the other thing. That's the real reason. On Thursday, after they made this announcement, Israel gave final government approval for a long-awaited deal that would allow an American-Israeli partnership to develop a large offshore natural gas field, allowing Israel to export gas to other countries in the region, including Turkey. And you know why? Because after Turkey shot down the Russian fighter jet, Russia cut off all their gas and oil supplies. Mm-hmm. So let's get friends with Israel again. Seriously.
That's why they are all the time. They're back and forth, back and forth.
It's just bizarre. Well, one other thing before I let you, blabber on, and that is Christmas Eve, which is coming this week. Supposedly an asteroid is supposed to fly near the moon, like close to the Earth.
I have that story.
Oh, well then never mind.
No, you can go ahead.
No, never mind. I won't interfere with your story. Go ahead.
You have anything else?
Well, it's supposed to set off volcanoes and earthquakes.
Well, they said that's according to conspiracy theorists.
Well, we know how crazy they are.
Right. So that's basically what I was going to say about it. So It's not a big story, but it's just more things which we've been telling you over the last couple of years, that there are more things whizzing by the Earth now all the time.
There's things whizzing by me all the time.
Yeah. All right, so one thing you didn't mention was about that Saudi Arabia announced the formation of a 34-state Islamic military coalition to combat terrorism.
Yeah, right. That's like the fox and the wolf saying, we're having coalition to help the chickens.
Yeah, well, they're doing that because the U.S. says that they should do more to combat terrorism.
Right.
So therefore now they're announcing the coalition consists of, now this is interesting because it's Islamic countries all over the entire world. Egypt, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Turkey, Malaysia, Pakistan, Gulf Arab, African states.
Yeah, these are people who can't help themselves.
Yeah, so Malaysia and African states are
right. You and I have a better army than they do.
Yeah. But anyway, what's interesting is apparently now that they're claiming that they're coordinating efforts to fight terrorism in Iraq, Syria, Libya, Egypt, and Afghanistan.
Right. I'm so relieved. Are you?
And the interesting thing about this is when I was watching this particular piece, they show the military dancing around like they often do.
Right.
But the interesting thing was the military had two things which I've been talking about for a long time, and one is their faces were all painted.
Painted? With what?
Camouflage. So, yeah, some of them were red, some of them were brown, some were green, and they were also in full head masks. Now that's the other thing that we're seeing more everywhere. So I thought that was interesting because you don't usually see the military out dressed like these full head masks and the full paint. You don't. You maybe on exercises once in a while they'll show them, but these are just like their military.
So they're just going into an altar.
Yeah. Or they're trying to put the people into an altar. Now, Angela Merkel, the German chancellor, said that immigrants have to do more to assimilate into the German culture.
Oh, you think?
She said that
Instead of
now
raping people.
she's pledged to limit the flow of refugees entering the country. So now she's saying they
should
have
put
enough.
them in her neighborhood.
They said they have enough, and now they're going to start reducing the number. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
She dismissed the idea of multiculturalism, and she said that she doesn't want to encourage the different groups to live in different communities. She wants them to come together, learn the language, and to blend.
Too late.
Well, the interesting thing is, again, it's easier for one world government to govern people if that they're not
It's too
multicultural.
late.
And also, she was named Time Magazine's Person of the Year.
Yeah, right. I should be Person of the Year.
For her work in managing Europe's refugee crisis and the Greece
Let's say she
debt
destroyed
crisis.
Greece. She destroyed Kosovo. She screwed up the EU finances. She destroyed the euro. Yeah, let's give her an award.
Because that's what they want.
Perfect. It's wonderful.
Whoever the world handlers are,
Great.
the global handlers, they want...
Maybe a Nobel Prize, too.
That could be in the works,
Maybe.
absolutely. That wouldn't surprise me. And then Obama, this also is another Obama story, but it just, again, blows me away. He calls the Paris Climate Pact the best chance to save the planet.
Of course.
Now, in my opinion, the planet doesn't need saving, but they're making it so that the public thinks that the planet needs saving.
I'll translate. This gives them the excuse and the justification to create taxes and laws to impose on the population to screw them more.
I agree. He says the Paris Agreement will not be fully legally binding, which would almost certainly fail to pass in the U.S. Congress.
Right, which is controlled by the Illuminati anyway.
It says Donald Trump has cast doubt on science that attributes the warming of the climate to carbon emissions, saying that the world's temperature goes up and it goes down. That's
right.
true. And Hillary Clinton says that she applauds the agreement, and she's pushing back at the critics, vowing to make climate change a top priority if elected president.
Right.
And then there's Representative Raul Grijalva, the top Democrat on the House Committee on Natural Resources, urged quick action by the Republican-led Congress to fund and support the Paris Accord. I don't know what they're going to fund. It doesn't exactly say.
Also, by the way, so that means that the Paris Accord was enhanced by the ritual sacrifice of the people who were murdered there previously.
Yeah. And
10 times 13, 130.
This fellow says, too many people have spent their careers pretending that climate change is a hoax perpetrated by shadowy environmental groups and Machiavellian research scientists. The American public knows full well that's not the case.
No, they don't, because most people know it's a bull crap idea.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. Again, we don't need to save the planet, but they keep imprinting people that way. And then last week we talked about Elon Musk, and he claims now that his projects may be foiled by World War III. So now this term is now being put forward.
We are in World War III.
Yes, and now they're officially making that announcement in the way that they make the announcements. He said in a recent interview with GQ, I don't think we can discount the possibility of a third world war. And if it does occur, it could be far worse than anything that's happened before.
He's brilliant.
And he said
he's a brainiac.
This is going to bother his plans to colonize
Oh,
Mars.
poor thing.
And then, now this was interesting to me because, have you heard of the movie The Martian?
No.
He's about an astronaut who, as part of a manned mission to Mars in 2013.
2030s.
2035, I guess. He's hurt by a storm that requires the crew to go back to Earth. They think he's dead and they leave him. He has to survive. Well, apparently this is going to come out now on DVD and Blu-ray, but they did it at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston. So to me, this is a blending now of fiction and fact. Because they don't use
everything else,
but now it's in front of you. And apparently they talked about how they use NASA people to help with the film. And I mean, it just goes on and on. It was really kind of interesting to me that they did that. And they said, according to their website, NASA's Orion spacecraft is built to take humans farther than they've ever gone before. And the astronaut Drew Fustel said that he's probably too old to fly on an Orion mission, but he believes that, again, listen to this, the mission to Mars is vital for the survival of the human species.
Yeah, that's what's his name said, Hawking.
Yeah.
He said, we have to leave the planet to survive.
So they keep bringing that up. But then he goes on, this astronaut, to say, we have only existed a short time on this planet, and we know other species, such as the dinosaurs, did not survive due to planetary change. He joked that dinosaurs didn't have a space program, but we do. That makes the study of other planets and the ability to travel to them crucial to the future of human existence. So they keep bringing
Another
us up in the
brainiac.
news between the climate change and
And
Mars.
colonizing. Remember I said,
Yes.
people, that the New World Order wants the Earth to be a new galactic headquarters, and they're not going to kill 2/3 of the population like you. They're going to transport them elsewhere.
And people will willingly go because the Earth, they're going to tell you it's dying, it's this, it's that, and people will just hop right on whatever and go wherever. So you watch. Anyway, this was kind of a story I kind of threw in here simply because of this gentleman's name. Apparently, the mayor of a Georgia city died from a gunshot wound during domestic dispute. And of course, we extend our condolences. 53, which is an 8, an oversoul number, which is oftentimes when people do pass on. And his name is Terry Green, Greene. And of course, green means go in programming terms. So
Don't forget Dr. Green, who was Mengele.
yeah, and he was a doctor. He was a physician and father of 4. So I have a feeling that was also.
Where was
this
it?
was in Georgia, Clarksville. I'm not sure where that
Take
is.
the last train to Clarksville, and I'll meet you at the station.
Oh, please.
Well, that's what it's about.
Anyway, terms: Christmas and Thanksgiving, and the Pledge of Allegiance was banned by a principal in Brooklyn, New York.
Well, they're bright over there.
And what's interesting is the principal was 33 years old. So we've been talking a lot how they're bringing in the newer generation to teach, and they're getting rid of the older teachers, which are in the 50s and 60s. Like they're gone if they can get rid of them. So this woman came in, and she put an end to the Pledge of Allegiance, references to Santa Claus, Christmas, and Thanksgiving.
What?
So apparently the New York Post ran a huge story about this. They can't, when this woman put these protocols in, they can't say Christmas, nothing with Christmas on it, nothing with Santa, no angels, we can't even have a star because somebody might think it might be the Star of David.
Well, I shall not have it.
And then, however, the Department of Education said it does permit holiday symbols, including Christmas trees, kinara, which is a candle holders for Kwanzaa, I guess.
Kwanzaa.
Dreidels, Hanukkah menorahs, and the Islamic star and crescent.
Oh, that's just so stupid.
Then
Who
they
needs
went on.
religion?
The business manager of that district said Santa Claus is considered an other religious figure.
What does that mean?
Well, I don't know. Anyway, it goes on to say that after they ran this, the Post ran this story.
Wait, they're going to find out that Santa Claus had a sex change.
Maybe. That wouldn't surprise me.
He's going to be
Nothing
Caitlin Claus.
Anyway, so the day after the Post ran this story, then apparently it says the district superintendent stormed in the office door at 9:50. Stormed in. And minutes later, 2 5th-grade boys were brought to the main office to lead a recital over the public address system of the Pledge of Allegiance. So it sounds all this sounds staged to me. I mean, this sounds too bizarre. So anyway, just the parents were happy because they said it wouldn't have happened if the Post hadn't done the story, but it sounds a little strange. Okay, and of course the principal apologized, but did they say they fired her? No, she's still there. And then around Christmas, we always have a lot of Jesus stories. So now forensic scientists are saying how they believe Jesus looked because they analyzed 3 skulls from archaeological digs.
This is old news. They had this 20 years ago, I remember.
They keep bringing it up. They said that they can now accurately.
He looks like in the picture they show. It looks like he came out of the subway after sleeping there for a week.
Yes, that's what they claim. Anyway, but listen to this. They're saying has dark skin and eyes.
It's not true.
The traditional Jewish beard with short curly hair. Anyway, they said earlier this year they also showed what he would look like as a child. Now this is interesting because I've been kind of, as you know, followed this on and off through the news. After they showed what he would look like as a 12-year-old, he looks, like you said, this kind of a vagabond type of person. However, there is a painting by Akiane Kramaric. When she was 8 years old, some of you may have heard of her.
Oh, is she the one that does the paintings?
Magnificent paintings.
Yeah. She does it like.
Yes.
She gets these images
and visions, and she goes places. And I mean, she looks.
She's an amazing artist.
Amazing. Anyway, when she was 8, she painted a piece called The Prince of Peace. And they compared that to the Shroud of Turin, and they claimed that this is what it looked like. Right. And then there's also something called the ISA tile in Turkey, and this is also supposed to be what Jesus looked like. And both of these are depicting him basically as Caucasian.
Yes, he had auburn hair, green eyes, white skin.
Okay, but they're saying, oh no, the Shroud of Turin belongs to this other image. So they keep bringing it forward every holiday season, and Easter. That's the other time that they bring it forward, what Jesus really looked like. So continue to watch for these stories. Now, this was also interesting. David Letterman has a... Did you read about that?
I saw the picture of him.
Yeah, he has a new beard. And you know
Looks
what?
like Santa Claus.
Or, I also think of,
Or pervert.
Or, a long time ago, we're talking about bringing back what's old. You know, men now are mostly, went through the clean-shaven period. Now the men maybe wear, like, a shorter, neater beard. He's got a huge beard like this.
No, it's like Santa Claus beard.
Well, it could also be a pretend beard. They might have just put it on him.
No, I think he really grew.
Well, I don't know if he did. But what's interesting, he says, everybody hates it. My wife hates it. My son hates it.
But I'm going to keep it anyway.
Yeah, now listen to this. I've kind of developed a real creepy look with it that I'm enjoying.
Uh-huh.
I can tell that people are put off by it. And the more people ask me to shave, the stronger my resolve is not to shave.
Mm-hmm.
So again, they're imprinting people, in my opinion, and they're bringing back the old. I mean, he looks like he belongs out on the prairie with a shotgun,
right?
And riding his horse and scratching his belly, and
or grooming reindeer.
Yeah, something. Mm-hmm. And then the last story that I have.
Oh, good.
Is about. This also comes from Brooklyn, the Morbid Anatomy Museum. Now, apparently there was a young...
Did they look at my family?
Maybe. I don't want to say that. Joanna Ebenstein opened the museum as an extension of an art project on anatomical history and artifacts. And apparently now they put on a flea market every year, holiday flea market. She said that the line stretches around the block, and people wait 2.5 hours to get in her museum to buy them. This is in Brooklyn. Because
there's nothing else to do there.
The interesting thing is, and I keep telling you, that the death culture keeps coming up. What they used to do a long time ago, they used to decorate the corpses, they used to take portraits, they used to unearth people and take them and wash them and dress them. Every day, almost now, there are pictures and stories of this death. So they're making it increasingly more commonplace for you to accept people that are dead, people that are dying. Sometimes we watch people, I told you about the story, the man fell off the back of the boat, so we actually watched him die. So there are more and more stories about that, making it more acceptable for you to deal with death, so a lot of stuff.
That just kills me.
Anyway, so that's my last story.
Well, so we should say there is very few openings left for the January class.
Yes.
I mean, really very few. So you better hurry up if you're interested. It will be a class you will never forget, people. I'm telling you, it's not the same as I have done the last 6 years. Very different. Very different.
Is our 7th year doing this class now? Or is it 6th year?
7.
You want to count your fingers first?
And other parts.
Yeah. So anyway, we have people coming from all over the world. We always do. It's a fantastic class.
At least 3 continents.
And I always say, what are you going to be doing when the holidays are over? What do you have to look forward to?
That's what I say to myself.
Have us to look forward to in January.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you're interested, sign up now. It's a fabulous, fabulous class. It's the most intense one we do all through the year.
Yeah, but this one, I mean, I have such amazing new information. I mean, I'm even shocked.
Yeah. And if you don't come this year, you won't have another chance until 2017.
Who knows what we'll be doing in 2017.
We don't know. So anyway, that's our biggest class that's coming along. I am doing the self-healing group webinar, which is coming along very well. The next session begins December 30th. I still have a few spaces in that class that are still open, so you are welcome to join that one. It's ongoing. Join our site with a membership. That's where you have daily access to Stewart and I on our blogs and like our Facebook fan pages.
Right, and I also want to wish you all a very happy Appreciation Week. We appreciate all of you, and we're grateful for all of you, and we'll see you after the holidays.
Yes, we appreciate you supporting our work and expansions.com all year long. Thank you. Bye-bye.